When people start thinking about moving to San Diego, they picture some really great things like perfect sunshine, the beach, a really laid-back lifestyle, but that's not always how it plays out. I work with people relocating from all over, and a lot of them come in thinking they're gonna find a really good deal in one of the more popular areas. Until we actually start looking at what that area costs and what you actually get for your money, people are completely shocked. So in this video, I'm gonna break down 5 areas that might be just a little bit overrated right now, and I'm gonna show you some nearby options where your budget can go a lot further without sacrificing things like lifestyle, schools, or your budget. Let's get into it. My name is Nick, a top 3% real estate advisor here in San Diego that is very blessed to have helped a ton of people relocate right here to beautiful San Diego. And time again, we see people that are very attracted right off the bat to certain areas because of the beauty, because of the lifestyle, maybe because of the schools. And once we start digging in, they realize, holy smokes, I can't stretch my budget that far. So the whole point of this is saving you guys time and sharing some areas that you might not know about that are very similar. So let's start with the first one, which is going to be La Jolla. And chances are, if you've at least visited San Diego, I don't know, one time in your life, the odds of you have gone to La Jolla is very, very high. It's one of those areas that just attracts a lot of people here because it's gorgeous. I mean, look at this place. Everything from the views to the beaches to the prestige. But lately, the price tag has been turning away more and more buyers. And that actually really starts to make sense, especially knowing that the median home price is over $3.2 million. A lot of very well qualified buyers out there right now don't feel like they're getting much for that dollar, right? Homes are older, lots are a little bit tighter, and new inventory is pretty rare. And don't get me wrong at all, I totally understand the draw to La Jolla. I mean, look at these oceanfront cliffs, UCSDs right here. You got high-end boutiques, some of the dining, and some of the best weather in the entire country. It has the prestige, it has the walkability, and it has the access to all the top schools that people really want. And obviously this stuff comes at a certain price, and the cost of living index over here was pretty shocking. It was 90% above the national average. And a lot of our clients that actually reach out to us are initially drawn to La Jolla, and I always ask them the same thing. I go, what is it about La Jolla that is bringing you here long-term? And they usually say the same thing. They say, Nick, it's a place that we've been visiting for 10, 25 years now, and it's time for us to kind of buy a place there and just spend a lot more time. And then we start diving into it, and people quickly realize that they're going to be compromising on a lot of different things, everything from size to condition and even convenience. And a lot of the buyers, even at that $2.5 to $3 million price range, they feel like they're getting just an outdated home that they still have to put money into to bring it up to their standard. And unless prestige is like your #1 goal, it's going to be very hard to justify the prices over there in La Jolla. But if you are looking for a small town charm and still some really good schools while finding that balance between lifestyle and good value still, Encinitas might be a really good option for you, with the median home price being about $2.1 million. And guys, don't chew me up in the comments. It is still an expensive place, but compared to La Jolla, chances are you're going to get a newer home. You're going to get a much more hip and coastal downtown and more options under that $2.5 million price point. Plus, Encinitas offers some extremely strong schools, and you're literally going to get the same beach town vibe without that prestige tax. And guys, I dare you to spend a day in Encinitas and come back and tell me you don't like it. It's got such a fun lifestyle. It's got this built-in surf culture, walkability, a very charming coastal living, and a much more youthful energy than La Jolla. And this is one of those areas that's great for every single walk of life. It doesn't matter at what stage of life you're in, whether you're a young professional, maybe you have a growing family, or maybe your kids are in high school, or maybe you're a second home buyer who just wants ocean proximity without that La Jolla price tag. Now, Encinitas is not cheap by any means, and it definitely does deliver depending on that mix you're looking for, whether it's lifestyle, quality, or just resale potential. This is a very smart coastal move in my opinion. Next up, we have Carlsbad, which is very beautiful on the surface, but over the past few years, it has gotten increasingly expensive, and for some, it's just hard to justify financially. And don't get me wrong, because prices don't deter people over here somehow. They are very drawn to the neighborhood appeal. You have some really well-known master plan communities that are just very family-oriented, very clean-cut, consistent. People love that, and you have that coastal living. I mean, most of these neighborhoods are only 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 minutes max from the beach, and it has a really quaint and cute downtown area known as Carlsbad Village, where you have a ton of good food. You're gonna have bars, you're gonna have great coffee, like Lofty Coffee. It's just a good time, and you got the weekly farmers market. So there's a lot to love, and I gotta mention the schools because the public school district here in Carlsbad is a big draw for people because it's very highly regarded. And even with the median home price being $1.4 million, it is still a very competitive area, especially in Bresci Ranch or Aviera. A lot of these renovated homes in the good school districts still get multiple offers. So a lot of clients, when they reach out to us and they're interested in Carlsbad, they go, hey Nick, I have a budget of $1.1 million. I want a turnkey single family home. What can I get? Well, you don't have have any options. Not till you have about $1.3, $1.4 million will you be able to find more of a turnkey property. And even then, a lot of our clients still say, hey, these homes are too close together or they are still too dated for us. That's when we introduce San Marcos to them. And San Marcos is a place that gives a lot of what people love about Carlsbad: the good schools, the space, and the community without that Carlsbad markup. And with San Marcos's median home price being about $960,000, that is literally almost half of Carlsbad's home prices. You're really not sacrificing much, especially on location, because San Marcos is literally just one town east of Carlsbad. So you're still in North County. You're gonna get some really good schools, which is gonna be the San Marcos Unified School District. You're gonna have newer homes and a bit less competition at the moment. And honestly, the lifestyle is very comparable to Carlsbad. It's very community driven. You're gonna have dining all over. You're gonna have shopping, a ton of great parks and trail access, and you're still very close to the coast. I'd say 25, 30 minutes at max to get to the beach, and you're not paying those coastal prices. Everyone from retirees to families to move-up buyers and people relocating from some of these more expensive coastal zip codes are moving to areas like San Marcos. And even recently, I had a client who was laser focused on Carlsbad, and once we sat down and actually figured out what it was they were looking for, which was space, newer construction, good schools, and just an easier commute, that's when I opened up San Marcos to them, and it checked every single box. We actually found a house they absolutely loved, and they didn't have to pay those Carlsbad prices. So that's exactly what I do, is we open this search up strategically to figure out what meets your goals, not for just today, but for the future as well. So if you're in this situation and you need help, hit me up anytime. That's what I'm here for, and I'd love to share some advice. Now let's talk about Scripps Ranch. This is a neighborhood that is a longtime favorite for San Diego families, but it's a market recently that's become out of reach for a lot of people, but there's a lot to love about it. You have tree-lined streets, you have very strong schools, you got Lake Miramar, and just an overall quiet suburban feel. And with the median home price being about $1.4 million, I'm hearing a lot of my clients not liking any of the options in Scripps Ranch until about $1.8, $1.9 million. And that's because right around this median home price, it's older homes, they're on smaller lots, and there is a very limited number of renovated properties. But overall, there really is a lot of demand over there in Scripps Ranch, especially from families, because there is fewer listings over there. But the bottom line is, it is a great lifestyle, but for you, the value might not make sense, especially at that $1.4 million price point. So if Scripps Ranch feels a little bit too dated, or maybe it's a little too tight for your style, I'd recommend looking in East Chula Vista, also known as Otay Ranch. You're gonna find much more house over here. You're gonna get more amenities and a little bit more room to grow, all for a median home price right at about $860,000. And if you don't know much about Otay Ranch, you should definitely look a little bit more into it, especially if you like newer construction. You have some really cool newer construction developments that are happening over there or that are newly built. You know, you're gonna have more of a modern floor plan. They're more of a master plan design, and they have that very strong community vibe that a lot of families are looking for. So it does still have a lot of those qualities that Scripps Ranch has. You know, it's very family focused neighborhoods. You have walkable schools, shops, and access to parks and trails. And for commuters, this is a little bit more south than Scripps Ranch, but you have some really good access to the 125 and the 805 for commuters. So if you are a family looking for a bigger home, or maybe you're a military buyer, or heck, maybe you're a dual income professional that just wants more space in a newer home, and you're priced out of areas like Scripps Ranch or Central San Diego, Otay Ranch in East Chula Vista is going to be an awesome spot to look. Now let's get into it and talk about a San Diego favorite, which is known as Poway. This is a big name here in San Diego, especially for families that are looking for really strong schools and want that community vibe, but it definitely comes at a higher price. And I think the biggest thing it's known for is hands down going to be its school district. The Poway Unified School District is rated #2 in San Diego County, and you have some other great amenities like parks. It has a very semi-rural living depending on where you live. It's also known as the city in the country, but you should know if schools are the draw for you in Poway, not all Poway homes are going to be zoned for the Poway Unified School District. You have to verify the zoning because some of the edges actually fall into some of the surrounding areas. So just know what you're getting into if you're looking for the schools over in Poway. And with the median home price being about $1.2 million, a lot of our clients and a lot of people have a lot of trouble finding any single family homes around that $1 million price point, especially under $1 million. You're not going to have any options. And if you do, expect it to be outdated. Now, I do think if public schools are really important for you and your budget is right above $1.3 to $1.5 million, you're going to find some really good options. But let's say schools aren't super important to you and you do have a little bit lower of a budget, Vista is going to definitely fill the void for you. And this area might surprise you. I know it surprises a lot of our clients that have never heard about it. Once they drive around and go check it out, they are so surprised on how spacious it is. It's growing and it's still relatively affordable, with the median home price only being at about $910,000. Now, Vista is similar in a lot of ways to Poway. I would say the biggest difference is the school districts. Poway's is much better, but it has a very similar feel, especially with the country vibe. It is a bit inland. I will say the proximity to the beach here in Vista is a bit better. You're only 25-30 minutes from the beach, and the neighborhoods have a really cool feel to them depending on what you're looking for, right? If you want that master plan feel, you have some great communities like Shadow Ridge, which is going to be very family oriented, community driven. Or if you like those windy roads, big mature trees, older homes with character, you have a ton of that in Vista as well at a very affordable price. And if you are into local breweries, you want to have a beer, or you're just into the local food scene, Vista Village is popping lately. There's so many good places to eat and try. It's definitely worth checking out. Vista overall is great for a lot of walk of lives, everything from younger families to move-up buyers or families who definitely want more space. So although Vista doesn't have Poway's name recognition, it's gonna definitely offer more bang for your buck when it comes to the houses over here. So it's definitely a place I'd recommend if you're priced out of Poway and even a lot of other areas in San Diego. Vista is still a hidden gem that I would definitely be looking into. All right, finally, let's cover downtown San Diego, which looks amazing on paper. I mean, the skyline views, the walkability, the nightlife, but the lifestyle doesn't often match the cost. And there's a lot of great reasons why people want to live in downtown. I mean, heck, I've always wanted to live in downtown. I've never pulled the trigger, but you can live in some amazing condos with bay views. You can walk to bars, you can go to new restaurants every night, and you have access to a ton of transit and just urban amenities, which just make life so much easier. And with the median home price being about $825,000, that's really not that bad. But what the real kicker is the HOA fees down here. Some of these exceed up to $1,200 a month for HOA fees. And guys, if you are looking in downtown San Diego, just make sure you understand what these HOAs are including, because some of them have fees that are as low as $600, which is low for down there, but some of them go up to those higher price points. And it's just important to know, because I'll have people send me stuff and say, hey, this looks like a great unit, $600,000, but the HOA fee is $1,500 a month. So, just be in the know on that. But there is a few cons down here as well. It's going to be a little bit more noisy. You're going to have limited space. Street parking can be a pain in the butt. You have the high fees, and there's a little bit more limited long-term appreciation when it comes to the condo units down here. And one thing I've certainly noticed with my clients is it's very hard for families to live down here. You don't have a lot of families living in downtown San Diego. It's more of younger professionals, or I'd say empty nesters, retirees that just want that walkability and things like that. And let's say you really do want that downtown living lifestyle. You want the walkability, you want the community, you want to have all that at your fingertips, but you don't want those high HOA fees and you want more of an ownership on a single family home. You need to be looking in North Park. And this area is kind of sort of a hop, skip, and a jump from downtown San Diego. You're going to have detached homes, you're going to have walkable restaurants, breweries, parks galore, and none of those $1,000 a month HOA fees. And you'll probably own the property if you're buying a single family home. And you're still going to get that very vibrant culture there in North Park. You have an art scene, you got cafes galore, and just a close, tight-knit neighborhood vibe. Not to mention the homes down here are absolutely gorgeous, especially if you like more of those historic bungalow homes. I mean, some of them have been completely renovated and done to the nines, and they still keep that historic look, while there still is a lot of opportunity if you want to go in there and fix your own. And there's a nice mix of demographic over here in North Park. You have everyone from young professionals to creative couples, remote workers, and families who just really want that walkability to shops, bars, restaurants. It's all right there, right out front of your front door, which is amazing. And you don't have all that baggage that downtown San Diego has. So as you've seen, not every popular area is going to deliver that value that you might expect. That's why it's so important that you guys work with somebody that knows not just the neighborhoods inside out, but the market as well. If you guys need help, reach out. My info is down below. And if you want to know a little bit more about living or moving here to San Diego, you might like this video right here.